Overcoming procrastination, psychological reasons and powerful strategies. Procrastination. Almost everyone struggles with it at some point. Whether it's delaying an important project, putting off that workout, or avoiding daily chores, procrastination often leaves behind feelings of stress and regret. But what if I told you that procrastination isn't a result of laziness? Instead, it's often rooted in deeper psychological reasons, particularly trauma we have faced, often in childhood. Many people go through their entire lives unaware they are carrying unresolved pain, and that it subconsciously impacts them in everything they do, from relationships to career choices. In this video, we'll uncover why procrastination happens and, more importantly, share actionable strategies that can help you beat it for good. First, let's define procrastination. At its core, procrastination is the intentional delay of important tasks, even though you know there will likely be negative consequences. It's putting off what matters in favor of something easier or more immediately rewarding. Procrastination manifests itself in a variety of ways. Procrastination as a coping mechanism. Children who experience trauma may develop perfectionistic tendencies as a way to gain control and avoid further criticism or rejection. This perfectionism is often driven by a fear of failure, as they strive to be flawless to prevent any negative outcomes. This habit carries on into adulthood unless it is recognized and worked through. Brain wiring. Traumatic experiences in childhood can shape the brain to be constantly on alert for danger. This heightened state of fear can make individuals more sensitive to potential failures, as their brains are wired to anticipate and avoid threats. This can impede emotional growth if not faced. Self-worth and validation. Children who face neglect or emotional abuse may grow up feeling that their worth is tied to their achievements. This can lead to a fear of failure, as any mistake or shortcoming is seen as a reflection of their value as a person. It is also a common trait in overachievers who often only felt loved as a child if they excelled in school or sports. This trait also carries into adulthood. Anxiety and stress. The fear of failure can cause significant anxiety and stress, especially in situations where performance is evaluated, such as tests, sports, or public speaking, in any situation where people feel judged. Anxiety can be debilitating and further reinforce the fear of failure. It stops many adults from pursuing their dreams. The fear of success also stems from expectations from others and a desire to not disappoint. By understanding the underlying patterns of procrastination and using tools to reframe your mindset, you can take back control of your time and transform your productivity. Let's dive into this journey of self-growth and improvement. Procrastination affects us all differently. For students, it might mean avoiding studying until the pressure of an exam looms overhead. For professionals, it might be delaying a project until the deadline is dangerously close. And for others, it could be putting off decisions about relationships, health, or personal goals. But procrastination comes with a cost. It often leads to stress, guilt, missed opportunities, and even reduced confidence over time. The cycle of procrastination can feel endless, but the good news is that it's possible to break it by first understanding its true nature. Procrastination is not laziness. It stems from emotional and psychological triggers. Let's explore these triggers and the science behind them. When faced with a challenging task, the fear of not meeting expectations, whether your own or others, can feel paralyzing. As a result, avoiding the task seems less threatening than confronting the possibility of doing poorly. Did you experience those feelings as a child from an overly domineering relative? See the connection? Closely tied to fear of failure is perfectionism. Perfectionists often set extremely high, sometimes unattainable standards for their work. If they believe they can't meet those standards, they may delay starting altogether. When you were young, did you feel you were expected to do things perfectly and were criticized when you didn't? See the connection of why you avoid certain tasks altogether? Have you ever looked at your to-do list and felt completely overwhelmed? When a task seems too big or complex, it's natural to avoid it. The mind perceives the task as insurmountable, and procrastination becomes a coping mechanism. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid discomfort. When faced with a task that requires effort and has a delayed reward, the brain gravitates toward easier and more immediately satisfying activities. This is why scrolling through social media or watching TV often feels far more appealing than starting a big project or exercise program. Procrastination is often a way of avoiding negative emotions, such as self-doubt or boredom. The task itself is not always the problem. It's the feelings that come with it. When you procrastinate, you're not just avoiding the task, you're avoiding the discomfort that task might bring. These painful feelings of potentially disappointing someone or ourselves. Let's take a moment to look at the science. At the heart of procrastination is the conflict between two parts of your brain, the limbic system, the emotional part, and the prefrontal cortex, the rational part. The limbic system seeks gratification. It drives you towards short-term pleasures like watching your favorite show or eating a snack. This is also known as instant gratification. On the other hand, the prefrontal cortex plans for long-term goals and rewards. When these two parts of the brain clash, procrastination often wins because the limbic system thrives on immediate rewards, while future benefits feel abstract, distant, and the process to achieve them seems too daunting. By better understanding this internal tug-of-war, it becomes easier to develop strategies that favor long-term planning over short-term distractions. The first step in overcoming procrastination is self-awareness. You need to recognize when and why you procrastinate. Ask yourself, what emotions or situations trigger procrastination for me? Are there specific types of tasks I tend to avoid? Am I delaying this because I feel overwhelmed or uncertain? Am I afraid to start because I'm afraid to fail, or am I afraid people will expect more from me when I succeed? Self-awareness is the foundation for change. Once you've identified your triggers, you can address them more effectively with the right strategies. Here's the good part. Procrastination can be beaten. By using a combination of psychological insights and practical techniques, you can rewire your habits and start making progress. Let's break it down into actionable strategies. One of the simplest ways to overcome procrastination is to commit to just 2 minutes of the task. Often, the hardest part of any task is starting it. By telling yourself you'll work on something for only 2 minutes, you reduce the mental resistance. Once you're in motion, you're more likely to continue for longer. Set a timer for 25 minutes and focus solely on the task during that time. Afterward, take a 5-minute break. This method breaks work into manageable time blocks, making even large tasks feel less intimidating. Dedicate specific blocks of time to particular tasks or activities. Not only does this add structure to your day, but it also helps you prioritize and focus on the most important goals. Large-scale tasks can feel overwhelming. To avoid paralysis, break the task into smaller, actionable steps. For example, rather than writing an entire report in one sitting, focus on outlining it first, then writing the introduction and so on. Use the Eisenhower matrix to categorize tasks by urgency and importance. Tasks that are both urgent and important should be tackled immediately, while those that are neither can be postponed or delegated. Create an environment that supports focus. Identify and eliminate distractions, whether it's turning off notifications on your phone or clearing a cluttered workspace. Instead of striving for perfection, aim for progress. Give yourself permission to create a first draft or an imperfect version of your work. Make better food choices each day if the thought of long-term dieting overwhelms you. Each day you will get better and better. If a task feels too big, start with the smallest, easiest part of it. This small win can build momentum and make the rest of the task seem less daunting. Instead of criticizing yourself for procrastinating, practice kindness. Studies show that self-compassion can reduce negative emotions and increase motivation, which helps break the cycle of avoidance. Spend a moment imagining how achieving the task will feel and what benefits it will bring. Visualizing success can make the task feel more rewarding and motivate you to start. Beating procrastination isn't just about short-term tactics, it's about creating habits that set you up for long-term success. Establish a daily routine that includes time for focused work and breaks. Having a predictable schedule minimizes decision fatigue and helps you build discipline. Recognize and celebrate even the smallest accomplishments. Every step forward, no matter how tiny, is progress. Mindfulness meditation helps you become more aware of your thoughts and emotions. This awareness can help you manage stress and anxiety, the emotions that often fuel procrastination. Share your goals with a friend, family member, or colleague. They can help keep you accountable. Alternatively, use productivity apps to track your progress and stay organized. Procrastination is not a personal failure. It's a habit rooted in often painful memories and in brain chemistry. Understanding the psychological reasons behind procrastination is the first step toward overcoming it. From fear of failure to instant gratification, recognizing these triggers allows you to break the cycle and take action. The important thing to remember is that change doesn't happen overnight. It's about small, manageable steps, whether it's committing to 2 minutes of work, breaking tasks into chunks, or celebrating along the way. It's about letting go of past fears of failure or success because of the feelings that result from either situation. It's about self-compassion and realizing you are worthy of happiness despite the negative feelings you carry from the past trauma you faced. You can stop procrastination and be productive and create a life of purpose and achievement. So why wait? Start small today. Choose one strategy, apply it to a task you've been delaying, and take that first step toward a more proactive, fulfilling life. The journey starts now.